Hey guys, it's Cameron again, and I'm here to talk about the top 10 books that I read in 2015. Now, just because these are my top 10 books of 2015 doesn't mean that they were published in 2015. I have a couple that were, but some other ones were published years ago. So these are just my favorites that I read in that year. First one I have is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This one is the fifth and final book in the series. It's called The Last Olympian. It wraps up beautifully. There's a lot of tension and just emotions and just all kinds of stuff going on in this book. There were a couple times where I was getting a little bit choked up, so there's that aspect in it as well. Next is Fangirl by Rowell. Now this was probably my favorite book that I read in 2015, maybe in the top 2. It is just a fantastic book. So good. And I did a full video review of this, so I'll link that down below if you want to go and watch it and see all of my views a little more in depth. I also think I have a Goodreads review. I can't remember though. Here I have Alistair Grimm's Auditorium by Gregory Funaro. This is the first book in a middle grade fantasy series with some steampunk elements in it. This book was just amazing. I loved the characters and the plot and just the whimsical kind of gothic feel that it has. It was like watching a Disney Tim Burton stop motion animation movie, and also the illustrations are incredible. And I also read Alistair Grimm's Odd Aquaticum, which was amazing too. So if you want to see my reviews of these, you can look down in the description for those. Here is The Dead House by Don Kurtagich. This is a young adult horror novel. It is told almost entirely through different kinds of documents like newspaper clippings, journal entries, video clips, just all kinds of different forms of media. And it is an amazing book. Very creepy. There were parts of this that actually really got under my skin, which doesn't happen to me often because I don't scare easily. I highly recommend this one. I also have a full review of this one too, so as always, all those links will be down below. Here is a graphic novel. It is Justice League Volume 1, Origin, and obviously this is about the Justice League. It is the very first volume in the New 52 Justice League series, and this was my first time leaping into the New 52. I've never read any of those graphic novels before, so I thought this would be a good place to start. It's just epic and action-packed, and I ate it up. I also really love the dialogue and the bickering between all of the different characters. And what's cool about this one is that it has the Justice League movie in the back, so that's pretty cool. I have not watched it yet, but I will soon. Another graphic novel is Lock and Key by Joe Hill. This is the Master Edition, so there are going to be 3 of those. This is volume 1. I went into this not really knowing exactly what to expect because I had heard so many reviews on this and everybody was always talking about how good it is, but I have seen some negative reviews of people who were disappointed, so I wasn't sure if maybe this was just an overhyped kind of book. And when I read the first, 10, 15 pages, I was kind of thinking that I wasn't really into the story very much. I was kind of confused as to what was going on. And also I wasn't a huge fan of the art, but then as the story went on, I got more and more engrossed in it. I kind of started figuring out what was going on. And by the time I got to the end, I was hooked, and I cannot wait for volume 2 of the Master Editions to come out. It's going to be coming out just before my birthday, so I will definitely be ordering that. Another one of my favorites of 2015 was Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. This was a recommendation to me by my friend Jay, who has amazing taste in books, so I knew right away when I started this that it was going to be good. It is about Claire Waverly. She is a woman living in this small town in North Carolina, and all throughout the years, her family, the Waverlys, have had a reputation in the town for being a little strange. Everybody thinks that they are witches, and they are, just not exactly in the way that you would think. This is a magical realism kind of book, so the magic isn't very in your face, it's very subtle. And Claire is the only Waverly that's still living in the town until her sister Sydney decides to come back home, and it's about them kind of reuniting as sisters, and it's just a fantastic book. I love the small town vibe that this book brings, and so good. And the sequel, First Frost, is amazing as well. And the last one I have here is The Mistress of Spices. I can't really pronounce the author's name, but this book was fantastic as well. It's another one of those magical realism kind of books. I can't remember if I posted a review of this one. I don't think I did. It is about a woman named Tilo who is a mistress of spices. So she owns this small shop in San Francisco. She is an Indian woman, and she sells all of these spices and different items that have magical properties. She is a young woman, but she looks like an old woman because with her job being the Mistress of Spices, she has to give up her youth and everything and devote her entire life to these spices. But then she meets this man who comes into her store, and she is not allowed to fall in love, but she does. And it's kind of about the repercussions of that. It's a very strange, bizarre kind of book. Hard to explain. It's about the best I can do for you, but it is so good. And it's not exactly a fast-paced kind of book. It took me a little while to get through it, even though it's so short. But it's one of those books that I haven't been able to stop thinking about all year. So those were the top 10 books that I read in 2015. If you had any favorites that you read, I'm sure you did, list them down below so I can take a look at those. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.